at the Animal AgTech Innovation Summit in Dallas, Texas. Here, Meredith, you're here with Sealock. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what Sealock is.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Meredith Harrison. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer here at Sealock Inc. We're a precision livestock technology company that's based in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm proud to say we still do all of our own manufacturing in Rapid City, and we currently have systems deployed in 48 countries around the world. Our flagship product, our green feed system here, is used to measure enteric emissions on farm. So starting to dig into that as a proxy for efficiency, how can we use this to quantify dry matter intake in these extensive grazing systems?
Very interesting. So y'all are definitely chasing after the sustainability route, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. So sustainability is definitely one of those components of all of our Sealock technologies, whether that be green feed or measuring feed intake with our smart feed systems. We also have systems for measuring body weight in pen. Each time those animals take a drink of water, we're capturing that front quarter weight to convert that into a full body weight.
Very interesting. So can you tell people and producers or consumers alike how this is capturing data, not only with your green feed, I guess let's focus on the green feed first and how that's actually capturing the information.
Yeah. So the green feed is going to be a totally autonomous unit. You can put that out into pasture, run it off solar. Animals are going to use it free choice. Just to briefly walk you through the system, you're going to put a pelleted feed here, and then that's going to be what encourages animals to use the system. They'll approach, and then as they approach, we're going to have an RFID reader here that's going to scan that animal's ear tag, and then it will dispense feed. And once that happens, the fan at the top of this unit has a really high airflow attractant rate of 40 liters per second. So we're sucking through all of that animal's emissions through the machine, and then we're using that to measure methane emissions, carbon dioxide emissions, and then we can also do hydrogen gas emissions, which is important for maybe a methane inhibitor like Bovaer, and then also oxygen consumption. So how much oxygen is that animal using while it's in the system? When you start to combine all of those gas emissions together, you can calculate the animal's basal metabolic rate. So truly how much they need to just stay alive, walking around, which is going to get you back to your efficiency. And that's really what the crux of producers want. They want to find those really efficient performing animals and propagate those through their herds.
Very interesting. So producers are probably hearing this saying, you're talking about fans, you're talking about a big metal scary contraption. What has been the training protocol and what's the time length that these cattle take to really get used to the system?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So the big thing here is it is free will. We don't have to trap the animals in a headlock or anything to be able to use this system. So we see about 15% of animals are never going to choose to use this system, but compared to something like mineral, for example, only about 60% of your herd uses mineral.
Interesting.
So this is going to be really high adoption rate. If you're using it with, younger stocker calves, beef dairy cross, they're so curious. They really want something to go and, interact with. So they love the unit. They hit it pretty hard. Got a seed stock producer who's been doing some testing on his Angus herd in Iowa, and he's averaging 95% adoption across all of these different cohorts. So really easy. I say put it out there in the pen, and about half of your animals will be using it within 3 days.
Wow, that's a very short turnaround time.
It is, yeah. It's significantly shorter, I think, than even some of just the different feed bunks and whatnot. If there's that exclusion gate and parts that are moving, it's really scary. But with this, it's a stationary unit, so they're usually willing to go, and then they get the treats out of it, and then they're going back again and again.
Pavlov's dog, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what operations are using this kind of technology? I think that we all can assume some research institutions, but in production agriculture, where are you seeing the majority of your customer base?
Yeah, so Sealock was founded in 2005, and then the first grain feed was actually sold in 2011. It's a family-owned company. Those Zimmermans had a lot of foresight. It's a disruptive technology, and in 2011, people weren't ready for a methane monitoring machine.
Ag people not ready for tech? Come on now.
Yeah, I always joke too, I'm not sure that we've decided cattle really emit methane, so we're starting to, move right along, jumping on the bandwagon. We started in the academic space, like you mentioned. About 60% of our clients are still in that research sector, but we're really starting to see a paradigm shift now as different retail brands are targeting their scope 3 emissions. That might be 90% of their total supply chain emissions, so it's really critical to have these technologies to implement on farm. Also, large feed pharmaceutical companies, all those inhibitors that are starting to come onto the market now, how do we start to validate those?
Right. Well, it's really exciting, and as you'd mentioned, the retail side, consumers are more and more interested on not only where their food comes from, but how it's produced. And again, the big buzzword of the industry the last few years is sustainability.
Yep.
So we're really excited for you and CLOC. So where do you see CLOC going in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I envision us continuing to expand our footprint across the globe. So continuing to move into different regions in South America, for example. We have a lot of units in Australia and New Zealand already. I'm starting to send a few over to India and Indonesia. So we're really trying to position ourselves on the forefront of this sustainability space. And beyond just the emissions piece alone, I think it's important to view sustainability through a holistic lens. What's the trade-off of reducing days on feed? Of course, if we can get them harvested quicker, then they're going to be emitting less. So tying this technology in with all the other existing technologies, whether that be ultrasound measurements, feed intake, cameras are a big hot topic now. So just continuing to expand that footprint.
Well, that's very exciting things, and like you said, there's a lot of technology coming in that this marries up with very well. So for those who are interested in learning more or getting in touch with you, how can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us online at www.c, as in carbon, dash, lock, LOCK, ink.com, clockinc.com.
Wonderful. Well, Meredith, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.